Now, if you call in and we're at the Freedom Seminar, just tap the line and open up and just explain to the people what you saw, heard, liked, or disliked. Take about a minute just to say it was good, it's bad. You don't have to give a name or anything. Just hit number one. If you were at the seminar, once we get cranked up here, if you were at the seminar, dial in. Here's the number, 718-506-1864. 718-506-1864. Call in, and when you get in on the show, tap number one to let me know you want to speak, and we'll go from there. Okay? All right. Now, again, Friday night was very informative, very personal, very informative. We sold out of tickets because we had a small conference room at the Guardian Hilton. And everybody was there on time. The whole weekend, that was surprising. We didn't have any CP time this weekend. We started Friday night at 5 after 7. We started Saturday morning at 7:06. And Sunday we started at 9:06. And Sunday we started at 9 o'clock. I was the lead-off startup on every show. My presentation Saturday, I was going to make a point to start up on time. The place was half full and they were still coming in. Parking lot filled up quickly. It was a ball. Just to see how we operated under favorable, beautiful conditions. The hall was full. The parking lot was full. The parking was adequate. We had protection in the parking lots. It was all good. All good. So, Friday night, we discussed more personal problems. And when I noticed that there was going to be personal problems, I immediately changed the format and used, what we got here? I changed the format and used one question per. And we went completely around the room with one question each. And then we went back around the room for follow-up on the questions. And by the time we finished the second go-around, we had enough to take the important questions. Everybody backed off, and they wanted to know some of the answers to some of the more interesting questions that were laid out. I was surprised that of the knowledge of freedom that is in the city of Detroit. You know, it's one thing to be free, but it's a completely different process for you to study and understand what freedom is about and stay on target. We educated one lady and her husband who was there Friday. She had no idea what we were talking about. It was funny. Everybody was laughing at her. It was really funny. And we were trying to give her the benefit of doubt, but it just didn't work. But lo and behold, when she came back Saturday, I don't know what happened to her. Her and her husband must have went home and went round and round. But I'm telling you, she asked questions Saturday, and she was right on the money. She wasn't completely convinced and are in the know, but she asked questions, and she was right on the money. I'm very proud of her, and believe it or not, her name was Smith. So I can call her name, because that don't tell you much, but her name was Smith. Now, we discussed Friday all of the details, all of the, what can I call them? All of the personal questions, all of the I guess you could call them all personal. Everything that was on target, we definitely dealt with. Then on Saturday, I did my complete process on Saturday in regards to the birth certificate. And I love to run that. And we did the birth certificate, and it was good. I covered every base, and I believe, not bragging, but it opened the door. Jonah showed up, and around 10:45, I relinquished my platform and gave it to Jonah, and Jonah took off from approximately 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. We stopped for lunch. That was an unplanned lunch, but we stopped for lunch. And what we did, we kicked the whole process of debt relief. Jonah explained it. Questions were coming from everywhere. Jonah was firing at us. He was tearing us up. But he did something that was strange and unusual, but it worked. And that is, he brought out the 1864 Currency Act, Abraham Lincoln, 1864 Currency Act. And brothers and sisters, this cat went through, if I could bring it up as I speak, this brother went through that Currency Act. I recall, I didn't get a chance to write down notes because I was relying on a couple of other people to write notes. And I was relying on the DVD that we burned, which we do have. We haven't put it together yet, but we do have it. The Currency Act was so powerful that I remember Section 13, Section 15, 16, and 18, and 24. And I'm going to go back, not today. I might be able to do it today if I can pull it up correctly. But he read every act of treason, every violation of our rights, every act these third-party debt collectors are doing. And he kept coming back to the fact, has anyone ever wrote and told them they're breaking the law? I'm telling you, he talked about taxes, he talked about properties, he talked about homes, he talked about mortgages. I was aware of the mortgages. You're only allowed by law to hold a mortgage in check for 5 years, only 5 years. And everyone in the audience had a 30-year, that had a home, had a mortgage. It was a 30-year mortgage. That's against the Currency Act. The comptroller. You're supposed to write to the comptroller and let them know they're breaking the law. I'm telling you, it was mind-boggling of how he put that together. And I mean, it flowed. The only slowdown he had was to walk to the computer, because we had a projector and a screen and a pointer, and to walk to his projector, change the screen, and go from there. We got a caller here. Let's check this caller out. Okay, let me see here. Area code 586-3739.
What's going on?
You have a question or comment about Saturday?
No, it was awesome. It was absolutely jam-packed with information, and I couldn't be more satisfied with how everything turned out.
Yep. I noticed you had hit number 1, and I thought you had a question I wanted to get back to you. But
no, we're good.
All right, good enough. All right. So, Saturday was a full day. Let's look up Currency Act of Currency Act of 1864. Man, did he do a job on that. Currency Act 1864. And I wasn't aware, 1854, no, I want 64. I wasn't aware that there were several different Currency Act. PDF. Yep, National Currency Act. And I'm going to just try to pop and catch a couple of them. Now, Jonah said, anytime you see a statute at large, the Currency Act is a statute at large, which means it is stare decisis. I couldn't remember that Saturday. Stare decisis. I know y'all probably never heard of that word. Stare decisis, which means it's etched in stone, just like the Bible. Let me see if I can spell that correctly. And we're going to look at stare decisis first. Let me see if I can spell it right. That's the first thing. Stare, D-E-S-E-S-I-S. Decisive. There you go. Wow, Ron, you're getting good. Stare decisis is spelled S-T-A-R-E. Decisis. D-E-C-I-S-I-S. Stare decisis. The legal principle of determining points of litigation according to precedents. Let's take, we're going to do stare decisis, define stare decisis at dictionary.com. You need to look this up. Jonah made it clear that you will never get free if you don't look these words up. Because what you think they mean, they don't. And those that mean what you think they mean are put in certain paragraphs or sentences that change the entire sentence or the entire paragraph. He proved that to us several times. Okay. We got a call it. Area code 313 9531. It's too close. I know who that is. You're going to cut him out. Yep, it's too close. That was you. That's your number 7. Yep. Okay, it's all right. Call me in. Yep. Okay, stare decisis. And now, the doctrine that rules are principles of law on which a court rests, a previous decision are authenticated in all future cases in which the facts are subsequently the same. Y'all hear that? The doctrine that rules are principles of law on which a court rested, a previous decision are authenticated in all future cases in which the facts are subsequently the same. Okay? This stare decisis is something that you really need to know about. Judges and attorneys do not want to deal with a statute at large because they can't rule around it. If they rule around it, it's grounds for an appeal. Here's another one, complementary example. Stare decisis is, after all, the bedrock principle of the rule of law. Similarly, Samuel Alito testified to the Senate that a doctrine of stare decisis is a fundamental part of our legal system. The whole legal system is built on stare decisis. It's been ruled on several times. No ifs, no ands, and no buts. It's called stare decisis. Now, from stare decisis, we're going to go to statutes at large. Still looking. Yep, that's good. Statutes at large. Yep. Statutes at large. Here's a good one here. Okay, statute at large. U.S. Code 1. Wow. Subsection 112. Statutes at large. Contents, admissibility in evidence. The Archivist of the United States shall cause to be compelled, edited, indexed, and published the United States statutes at large, which shall contain all the laws and concurrent resolutions enacted during each regular session of Congress. All proclamations by the President in the numbers series issued since the date of the adjournment of the regular session of Congress shall proceeding. Congress next proceedings. And also any amendments to the Constitution of the United States proposed or ratified pursuant to Article 5 thereof since that date, together with a certificate of Archivist of the United States issued in compliance with previous contained in subsection 106B of this title. They're talking about the power of the statute at large. The power of statute at large. The right of title can be acquired by fraud. Woo! This is the bad. The right of title can be acquired by fraud. You need to look this up. You need to look up statutes at large. And it talks about notice to discharge debt against the account named herein. This offset command is made pursuant to remedy found in public law. Woo! Chapter 48, Statute 48, 112, until the state, where we at? Until the state notice of agent, /agent is notice to the principal, notice to the principal is notice to the agent. Notice to a violation of the law if you fail to discharge your invoice as commanded. Oh, I got to put a tag on this one. This account is accepted for value and exempt from levy under U.S. Constitution. Oh, baby. No right of travel can be acquired by fraud, so you cannot lie and take it through the courts. And we're talking about notice to discharge debt against the account named herein. Oh, this is beautiful. I got to save this baby. Y'all hold on 1 minute while I put this in my add to favorites. I'll just put it in favorites. I'll change it later. Okay. Jonah went through the entire Currency Act. I haven't even got to the Currency Act yet. I'm dealing with statutes at large. Let's take one more here. Public Law, Chapter 48, 48 Statute 112, brackets. He explained why they use brackets. 73rd Session of Congress. All of these laws that he used and the ones that I'm working with now are all dealing with obligation. He said we must look up the word obligation. Obligation explains the definition of obligation is a debt. Obligation does not necessarily have to mean money or payoff, or it does deal with contract, but it's payoff. Obligation can be a unfulfilled contract. You failed in the obligation to do your duty. When you do have an attorney, either assigned or by choice, or you're assigned a judge, you don't have much choice when you have assigned a judge. Once you establish that the judge is under oath, the oath itself acknowledges the Currency Act, and the judge swears that he will uphold the Currency Act. And all you got to do is bring out the Currency Act, and everything you read, he violates. So he's not living up to his obligation. He's not practicing a law under the obligation of truth, honor, and justice. Oh, I'm telling you, you should have been there. Or if you can't do anything else, you ought to try to get this daggone a DVD. I know we have at least 14 hours of the weekend. And right now, I'm only talking about Saturday, which would be discharging debt. All right. Now, we go back to the Currency Act, and it was also changed to the Banking Act. Now, Jonah said, anytime you read a act, A-C-T, that starts off with, be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. That means that they're talking about the government prior to the European taking over. That's the key. A government was already here when the European came. When we gave him permission to set up, and I always love to tell you, Article 1, Paragraph 8, Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 17. You need to read it. Our Morris Congress gave them that right to set up a seat of government for the United States of America. 1887. Now, I know you may call and start jamming me on it, but what you're going to jam me on is the fact that as they begin to take over, they changed the names to protect the crooks. They changed the names. They made United States of America a ugly thing because finally in 1871 they incorporated. They had no right whatsoever to incorporate it. Because when you read your state constitutions, it will tell you you're not responsible for any act of a corporation. Woo! I'm telling you, that brother Jonah is so bad. I mean, and we had I printed out the Constitution. We used 1835, the Constitution of 1835 of the state of Michigan State. There you go, not state of. Michigan State Constitution, 1835. Right in the Constitution itself, it says that you cannot, and I'm going to pull it out. We're not responsible for any act of corporations. None. So why are you paying debt? Why are you paying these people? And you know the questions came out then. I mean, they said, oh, I got a car note, I got a house note. Stop. You have to be creative. Listen to me. You can't just sit on your ass and think everybody's going to work for you. I know I'm not. Jonah made it clear. He's not going to do it. It's too mind-boggling for me. I don't get a chance to do what I'm supposed to do. Jonah proved that living in the United States is treason on the part of the United States of America. He proved it. I brought to attention that every mortgage is infested with fraud, misrepresentation, lies, everything. And you have a right to open up every foreclosure law because the lawyers lied to the judges. Now, this is a tricky process because the first thing you have to learn when you're dealing with courts, you do not, I'll say it again, you do not want to blindside the judge. You got to give the judge leeway. You cannot make an ass out of the judge. He has a right to protect himself and the courts. And it's not your job to come in there running your damn mouth, trying to let the people that are in there that are dead hear you on the judge's time. I had a couple of people in there that I went over and tapped them on the shoulder. I said, I've been telling y'all this for the last 15 years. You can't go in there with that bullshit trying to fool the judge, that the judge is an idiot. The judge knew better. Judge let them do, no. You have to use tact when you go after the judge, which means the lawyers and the corporations, whoever those lawyers are representing, they lied to the judge and only gave him part information. Just enough to fool you, or better yet, to piss you off, and enough to convince the judge that they were right. Now, the judge knows they're lying. He was a lawyer once himself. But he's not going to let you come into his court and make a fool out of him. You have to use your imagination. They have what they call subject matter jurisdiction. So let's take a situation. Let's take the promissory note, the mortgage, and the foreclosure process. Every time the foreclosure process go into effect, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be evicted. And you know from all the information you've heard in the street, you've read in books, you've seen on TV, that they lied. But what did you do about it? What did you do about it? Now, the first thing you should do is file for a void judgment, VOID, void judgment, on the grounds of subject matter jurisdiction. The judge ruled on a case and he didn't have all the evidence. That's his key to get out. Because I'm coming after them other crooks, the lawyers and the mortgage company. And those are the two that violates the National Currency Act. Let me see if I can find some good stuff. I think I got it because I'm in the section. Let me go to section 14 and see if that's. I was working the floor. Anybody that showed up knew Ron Marks was working the floor, and I was giving them hell too. I wasn't taking no lip. I'm looking at, now I am a little, let me keep going. I'm a little beside myself. Go to 24. Because I didn't know that there was more than one currency act. Because the 24 I'm looking for is not the one that I see here. So I'm not going to be outdone. I'm going to find out where he was. I'm going to find out where he was. Do you recall what currency act he was using when he was talking about obligations? Yep. It was difficult for us to stay in tune, okay, because, believe it or not, we were working. So, I'm just going to go ahead, when I take my break, what time is it? At the top of the hour, a little after the top of the hour, I will make a phone call, I think, to kind of find out what was up. Okay. But Jonah took the book and he made it clear. You cannot say that Jonah violated the law in any way. Why? Because he used the law that they agreed on. They signed the contract. You and I never signed this contract. They're on our land because of a contract. All right. I'm trying to read to make sure that I'm talking about the right one. That's why I'm a little slow. So let me talk about Jonah brought it clear to us that the United States government of America, they do not discriminate against us or anyone. This is, you talking about gobbledygook. This is more like BS. They do not discriminate against us. In the year 1868, 1868, they created what is known as the 14th Amendment. Nobody said a word. No refusals, no rebuttals, no nothing. With that 18th Amendment, they put rules, regulations, ordinances, and restrictions in the amendment. They ended up by saying everyone born in United States of America. That's how they got you. You don't know what America they was talking about. So let's just say they was talking about the real American, just for conversational purpose. United States of America, everyone born was given citizenship to United States of America. Nobody said a word. Further in that paperwork, everything that you're catching hell with, they put in the paperwork. They didn't put your name on it. They didn't say, Ron March, you couldn't have this and couldn't have that. They didn't say, Ron March, you have to pay taxes. They didn't say that. They said all 14th Amendment citizens had to pay taxes. And man, everybody got quiet. You could hear a rat urinate on cotton because they knew that he had opened up a can of worms and they wanted to know where he was going with it. And he dropped the bomb. He said, "You agreed acquiescently." Called my name when he said it because I always talk about acquiescent contracts. That's when you don't say anything. Remember the story I always tell about the gentleman that went to church and asked the lady for a ride home, and she threw her head up and walked away. He was sitting in the car. They called the police, and the cop wanted to know why he in the car. He said, "I'm minding my own business." Lady said she's going to give me a ride, and I'm sitting there waiting on her. "I didn't say that." And the cop said, "Well, what did you say?" "I didn't say nothing. He know I'm not going to give him a ride." Cop right there knew that I knew more than they knew. So he gave me a direct order to go over there and stand by that tree. He convinced all of them that I was a crook, a rapist, a murderer. We've been looking for this guy forever. Y'all can go on home, keep praying to Jesus with your dumb ass. I'll take care of him over there. I'm going to call for a wagon, and we're going to drag his ass downtown. As soon as he come over to the tree, he gave me $20 and told me, "Why you keep fooling with these people? Call a cab and take your black ass home or wherever you're going and leave these people alone." What was the significance of that? He killed 9 birds with 1 stone. He convinced those Negroes, those 14th Amendment citizens, that he was on their side. He also convinced them that troublemakers like me, they should try and stay away from. And last but not least, with him being a white peckerwood, he was close to Jesus, so they were saved by Jesus. Lord help him. And then last but not least, he told me to get the hell out of there quick, because I will arrest you for disturbing the peace if you keep this madness up. Now, every one of you out there probably say that it never happened to you, but it happens to you every day because you don't know what you're into. You don't know you're a slave. You don't know what keeps you a slave. None of you, Jonah said it 10 times, have never wrote a document to the comptroller, the president, the attorney general, the secretary of state, and said, "I am not, do not want to be, never was a citizen of the United States. I am not a 14th Amendment citizen. Never wanted to be, never even thought about being it." 14th Amendment citizen. And if you can convince me, here's the catcher. You got to put them in contract. If you can convince me that I signed to be a 14th Amendment, I'm going to give you 7 days to send me a copy of that contract where I agreed to be a 14th Amendment citizen. I guarantee you will not hear from them. Now you have to create what is called an administrative procedure. The first letter was your demand that you're not a citizen. You gave 14 days. You must write them 3 times. They tell me that's a biblical connection, a biblical hookup. I guess it is. The second letter is called an opticure, which means, and that's legalese, opticure. But what it really means is an opportunity to cure themselves, meaning I'm going to give you 7 more days for you to send me my contract. You're not going to do it. That's 21 days total. Now the last letter, you can do it 48 hours, 72 hours. If I don't receive a letter from you in 72 hours, convincing me legally or lawfully, there you go, lawfully that I have a contract with you and your damn United States, I will hold you in dishonor and default. That's all you need to do. You can put copies of that in your car, everywhere. Don't matter. Wherever you think you may need it. And when you're stopped, you're going to do it. Show it to them. Now, let's not get too happy. They'll hire a dumb-ass hillbilly out of the Ozark Mountains, put a badge and give him a pistol and say, bring all them old smart-ass niggas, bring them in. And you're going to bring your butt in there. So you might as well just make your mind up. You're going to jail. Stay in there until you get before the judge. Tell the cop that he's making a bad mistake. You'd like to see his supervisor. If he has a supervisor, better yet, if he calls the supervisor, you give him a copy or let him read what you got. If he continues to take you to jail, now you go to work and deal with him. Jonah took that type of example and went into what we were all waiting for, was the do not detain list. And he told everybody on Saturday, we will get into that more on Sunday. Because that last letter, you could do a lot of things with it. You could make the last letter, that default letter, into an invoice. Very simple. And you can do it with an attachment, or you can write it right into the letter. And that is, if I am stopped for any violation of the United States, I would charge the arresting officer $1,000 for detaining me. Put it in your own words, any way you want to. You ain't got to call me or call Jonah, and I do this. You have to be creative. You have to learn how to put your package together. Everyone's package is not the same. Somebody asked a dumb question. That's when I was working the floor. He wanted to know if I write my do not detain. He did this on Sunday. If I do my not detain letter and give it to the sheriff of Detroit, should I give one to the sheriff the sheriff of Wayne County? Should I give it to the sheriff of Oakland County? And I snatched the microphone out and damn near pulled his lips off. Get out of here. What kind of question is that? Answer is yes. Wherever you think you're going to travel, if you're going on a trip to Mississippi, you should send every county between Detroit and Mississippi at least 7 to 10 days before you leave Michigan. You should have in the mail certified that you're coming through the state. You're going to I didn't use that word. You're going to regress, and it's in the Articles of Confederation. We call it regress and degress. That means it's number 4. So you can go to the Articles of Confederation and look it up. It's in Article 4. You have a right to travel. You have a right to go to and fro through the lands without being molested, without being detained. You will be traveling. You're not driving. I'm going to Mississippi to see my mama. I will be traveling to Mississippi. Unbelievable. Jonah blew it. I'm telling you, that brother, as they would say, knocked the socks off. He had one of these sections dealt with housing, taxes, and I believe it was 24. When I saw it, I looked up, I said, oh, Lord, I hope my people wrote that down. The comptroller is the one that sets up and guards all of this madness. The comptroller grants the states and all of its institutions the right to do something or not to do something. So Jonah went through the day, and he complained to me, and I had to deal with it, that if he took a break, they was after him. If he went to the bathroom, they were after him. When we stopped to eat, they were after him. It didn't dawn on me because we had so many people, and they wanted questions. See, they tried to turn Saturday and Sunday into Friday. And we learned a lesson as to when we do it again, we're going to set it up a little different. But we're going to make Friday type greet and meet just as heavy as Saturday and Sunday, for sure. And the reason being, they were making Saturday and Sunday into a personal meet and greet. And not only was it not fair to the $100 people, because they only paid, the $100 people paid $100 to get meet and greet, and the Saturday and Sunday people paid $50 bucks, donated $50 to listen to the presentation. They're gonna turn Saturday and Sunday. We're gonna deal with that. We learned a lot from this. And that's why I'm critiquing it now, because I told everybody involved that we need to sit down and go through this thing step by step, as a brother used to say, piece by piece, so that we don't make these types of mistakes again. And there wasn't mistakes. People were just excited. They had never met a brother like this, like Jonah. Yeah. Okay. So we're getting at the top of the hour, so let's take a break, and I'm going to attempt to find a little bit more of this information, especially the ones that he was talking about, the house and the mortgages. Because this thing is the one I'm dealing with is 64 pages long. So you can imagine the difficulty in looking at it. And when I look for the sections that I know it to be, yep, we'll come back. So let's take a break. I'm back, and I found all the information. If you have your Currency Act up, go to Section 28. Go to Section 28 of the Currency Act. Section 28 of the Currency Act. All right. Now, it says, and be it further enacted that it shall be lawful for any such association to purchase, hold, and convey real estate as follows. We're talking about association, which is another word for corporation. First, such as shall be necessary for its immediate accommodation in the transaction of this business. So they have a right to transact the business, but they got to do it lawful. What they've been doing is not lawful because they've been selling the promissory notes. Okay. B, such as shall be mortgaged to it in good faith by way of security for debts previously contracted. They can use the mortgage in good faith by way of security for debts previously contracted, such as shall be conveyed to it in satisfaction of debts previously contracted in the course of its dealings. Looks like they're not putting a mortgage into the contract. They're putting your previous debts in the contract. Let's go on. Such as it shall purchase at sales under judgments, decrees, or mortgages held by such association, or shall purchase to secure debts due to said association. Number, such associations shall not purchase or hold real estate in any other case or for any other purpose than as specified in this section, nor shall it hold the possession of any real estate under mortgage or hold the title and possession of any real estate purchase to secure any debts due to its no longer than a period of 5 years. Now, I'm on page 13. I'm not sure how this was on Google. But they're talking about it, and I would have to read it again and probably, with all this legalese, get with someone so we can break it down, because they say you cannot hold. Let me read that last piece again. Such association, such mortgages, or mortgage company, or banks, let's put it that way, such banks shall not purchase or hold real estate in any other case or for any other purpose than as specified in this section, nor shall it hold the possession of any real estate under mortgage or hold the title, which is a promissory note, and possession of any real estate purchase to secure any debts due to it for a longer period than 5 years. This is law of the land. This is a stare decisis. Section 29. And be it further enacted that the total liabilities to any bank or any person or any company, corporation, or firm for money borrowed, including in the liabilities of a company or firm, the liabilities of several members thereof, shall not at no time exceed 1/10 part of the amount of the capital stock of such association actually paid in. Now that limits a bank right there, because a bank cannot lend money. And to set it up, they say you can only take 1/10 part of the amount of the capital stock of such association. Then it breaks it down, provided that the discount or bona fide bills of exchange drawn against actual existing values and the discount of commercial or business paper actually owed by the person or persons, corporations or firms negotiating the term shall not be considered as money borrowed. Now, if you know someone that is in law, or you know a legal paralegal, you need to sit down with this section, because this is what has everyone in debt, and is worse than debt, because when they decide to come after it, they will come and take your property. Now let's go to section 35. Section 35. I had one Yeah, I want to call a member that showed up Saturday to give me a call on break, to give me this information, which I knew she had it, but I forgot to give her a call. Now we're talking about Section 35. Loan by a bank or on or purchase of its own stock forbidden. Loans by an association on or purchase of its own stock prohibited. Let me ask a bold question. When you purchase a home, where does you sign a contract known as why do you think no one else signs that? Every one of you have a promissory note. Every one of you have a mortgage. and just show you how creative minds work. I just thought of this as I was reading this. You do not have a contract with the promissory note, nor do you have a contract with the mortgage. My question is, why is that? Why won't they sign? If they're so honest, why don't they sign? Okay. There must be a reason. You just don't go out and start setting up mortgages and promissory notes and putting people in houses and all that without completing a contract, or no one else signs it in your presence. Well, the answer is right here. In the title of 35, it says loans by an association on or purchase, on a loan or purchase a loan of its own stock is prohibited. So they can't, because the money is never in the bank. Now you remember the case of 1968 in Creditville, Minnesota. And I think it dealt with the judge's name was Mahoney. He killed Mahoney because Mahoney was asking the same question I'm asking. Where did the money come from? If the Currency Act says that it's forbidden for you to use your own stock to either purchase or create a loan, I'm going to ask you again, where in the hell does the money come from? Huh? I'm going to tell you where it comes from. Or better yet, let me tell you what Trot and Trot told Mahoney in 68. He said the money comes from thin air. He did that in court. When I say Trot and Trot, I'm talking about them dirty ass lawyers who represents the associations and the loan companies and the mortgage companies. Comes out of thin air. How is that possible? Judge said, make me some money right now. Pop it out right now. The guy said it don't work like that. Judge told him he was full of SHI. The judge ruled in favor of the defendant. The lawyer was disbarred, and the judge, for some crazy reason, went out in the middle of a lake to eat lunch, a ham sandwich, and fell out of the boat. That's a true story. I have that case. I'll have to, if you ask for it, if you email me and ask for it, I'll send you the link. I got the words and names wrong. I think Mahoney's right, but Creditville, Minnesota. It was in Minnesota. I can't remember the real name. I think it was Creditville. But anyway, he goes on in 35 to say, Be it further enacted that no association shall make any loan or discount on the security of the shares of its own capital stock, nor be the purchaser of or holder of any such shares unless such security or purchase shall be necessary to prevent loss upon a debt previously contracted in good faith. That has nothing to do with you. If they presume that that there is a necessity, they shouldn't lend the money to you. A so-called trick you that they lending money to you. They don't do it. There cannot be an emergency because no bank can lend their money. The stock so purchased or acquired shall, within 6 months from the time of its purchase, be sold or disposed of at public or private sale, in default of which a receiver may be appointed to close up the business of the association according to the previous provisions of this act. In other words, if they're caught lending their money, they will be put in default and they will sell the association under the provisions of this act. Limitation of indebtedness prescribed. This is section 36. I don't know where I got 14 from. No wonder I couldn't find it. And be it further enacted that no association shall at any time be in debt or in any way liable to any amount exceeding the amount of its capital stock at such time actually paid in and remaining undiminished by losses or otherwise accepted on the following accounts, that is to say, on account of its notes of circulation, on account of monies deposited with or collected by such association, on account of bills of exchange or drafts drawn against money actually on deposit to the credit of such associations or due thereto, on account of liabilities of its stockholders for individual and reserved profit. I understand that clearly, but what I read was not what I understand, because all of this has been, what did Jonah call it? Municipalized, meaning that they changed it and put in what is known as legalese. I call it gobbledygook. They're saying what I know they're saying, but they're not writing what I see. Called gobbledygook. Number 37. Here's a word that you probably never heard of before, don't have any idea what it means. Hypothecation of circulating notes prohibited. Hypothecation of circulating notes prohibited. Now, what I know about apothesize or hypothecation, when you turn in a promissory note of $100,000, you can apothesize that note by adding 9 zeros. And the first time you flip it, you take away, every time you flip it, you take away a zero. So you're really fooling with cyber monies or currencies that don't even exist. It's all about, what can you call it? God. Well, anyway, there's a law against hypothecation. And every bank does it. That's why they had to give up that stimulus package, because they were all hypothecating the mortgages and credit cards and a little bit of everything else they was into. This is a complete violation. You lose your homes because of this trickery, these scams, that you lose your home. So let's get into this 37. And be it further enacted that no association shall either directly or indirectly pledge or hypothecate any of its notes of circulation for the purpose of procuring money to be paid in on its capital stock or to be used in its banking operations or otherwise, nor shall any association use its circulating notes or any parts thereof in any manner or form to create or increase its capital stock. When the economy is booming, they get away with this trade. When the economy folds, all of that cyber money begins to show up with nothing to back it up. That's why when they created the new Constitution, so-called new Constitution, or the new contract that nobody signed, that made you a 14th Amendment, they talked about it in 1933 when they created what did they call it? Well, we know it was the New Deal. But they said that, they called it HJR 192. That's what they put into the New Deal so that the crooks would not go to jail. They gave you a remedy. So you can't say you were cheated if they told you they're cheating you. You know, y'all need to educate yourself. You need to come out of the darkness and get into the light. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't do it, I don't care if you do it or not, but if you don't do it, you're going to die. I told you this 1993, 4, 5, and 6 when I first started on the air. I told you what they were doing. I told you what they was going to do to you. I told you if you didn't get your act together, you're going to be up the creek without a paddle. Unbelievable. Okay? Now we're going to, I did 35 and 37. We're going to 46. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, Jonah BEY was on top of his game all weekend. I think he had a wonderful time. I think he was saying stuff he didn't know he had in it, if you ask me, because he kept laughing. All right, section 46, protest of notes on failure to redeem and duty of association thereof. This is kind of big. You not be able to go through this whole thing. Let's take a shot at it. I know I ain't the best reader in town, but you ought to bring it up and read it for yourself. And that was another good thing that we had problems this weekend, because probably 50% on Saturday and 70% of Sunday, all of the seminar personnel had their computers. And they were wireless, they were direct hookup, and they were looking up everything Jonah said. Oh, it was out there. It was really, really, really professional. I am proud to be a part of it and hope to do it again. But now, I was telling a couple of the people that helped us put this together, the group, we got to be careful who we bring in, because we either have to come in above Jonah's mentality or at least on his consciousness. Ain't nobody going to listen to an idiot no more. I can tell you that now. Or better yet, no idiot's going to come in here and leave here alive, because when that audience that we had on Saturday get through with them, oh, Lordy, they don't want to come back. They allowed to run out of there. That was a good group. And we're going to build from that group. I announced that we were going to get together again soon. And we were going to critique ourselves as to what we learned and what we did are going to do. I think I'll give a class. What I'll do is, I just thought of it. I'll give a class online and let everybody bring those answers in on the day we choose for this critique. We will put it on, we'll stream it so you can get an idea. Those that are close, I had Indianapolis and definitely Ohio, Toledo, and I want to say Akron, but it wasn't Akron. Wherever that daggone amusement park, Sandusky. I think it was in that Sandusky area. I'm not sure. They were from another place over there in Toledo. They said they would definitely be back. They're going to drive back. Toledo would definitely be here. Indianapolis, it has to be down 69. When you come up, Jackson is 60 miles from Detroit. Let's say 65. And then 69 running north and south, about 10 miles beyond Jackson. So we're talking 75 miles to 69. And then you drop down 69 through Fort Wayne to take you right into that town. So it's a good drive on a good day. They said they would definitely be back. Yep. Unbelievable. I mean, I really felt good that I was a part of it. Really was good. Okay, I'm at section 46. And it says, and be it further enacted that if any such association shall at any time fail to redeem in the lawful money of the United States any of its circulating notes, when payment thereof shall be lawfully demanded during the usual hours of business at the office of such association, or at the place of redemption of aforesaid, the holder may cause the same to be protested in one package by a notary public, unless the president or cashier of the association whose notes are presented for payment, or the president or cashier of the association at the place at which they are redeemable, shall offer or waive demand and notice of the protest, and shall, in pursuant of such offer, make, sign, and deliver to the party making such demand and admission in writing, stating the time of the demand, the amount demanded, and the fact of the non-payment thereof. And I remember this. And such notary public on making such protest or upon receiving such admission shall forthwith forward such admission or notice of protest to the comptroller of currency, retaining a copy thereof. God almighty know. When you have a payroll check or let's just call it an IRS refund check or some type of refund check, you're going to take it to the bank to cash it. Jonah asked, how many asked them to give you real money, not the fiat? Nobody knows about it. They don't teach this. It says here, you can demand to be paid in real money, backed by gold and silver. This is why everything is so secret. This is why you have a secret government. This is why they create agents all over the country. This is why they pay the jackleg ass preachers to teach you to get your heaven in the by-by. Y'all tear the door down every Sunday getting that BS. It ain't going nowhere. They turning off your lights, your gas, your water. They throwing your black butt out in the street. And the preacher tell you, don't worry about it. You're alive and Jesus loves you and you get your reward in heaven. God, I didn't know. Foolishness. Woo! Help me, somebody. That's why Christianity plays such an important role. That's why they talk about Christian names. That's why they tell you, I went to get, if you know what I know, you can see why and how they do all that. They make it difficult for you to give up. They tell you the United States is good, but they give you a bad exit plan. You can't even get out of the United States. Damn United States. United Snakes. Damn it. Tell them Ron Martin said it. I have a right to say it. But no. They tell you it's so good. Somebody will probably tell me, Ron, if you don't like it, why don't you get out? Why would I want to leave my home? I live in America. I was born and raised in America. I was not born and raised in the United States. I heard a group on local television today signifying, talking about something they had no knowledge of. Who is and who ain't good for the people. They've been running their mouths ever since I've been in Detroit and knew of them. And they went nowhere. No plan. No ideas. But can criticize whatever comes down the pipe. And will definitely make decisions on any program that they have never tried. They're going to tell you it won't work. It's madness. But we got to get through that. We've always had agents. We're in this hocus pocus trick bag today because of agents. And you everybody out there should and better tune in tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow with our regular Wednesday show. And you know, I start anew. I start at 6:30 to 8:30 on Wednesdays now. 6:30 to 8:30. From 6:30 to 7:30, I will be on local cable television right in Detroit with you around the world. They will sign off at 8:30. We will stay on until we get it right. They'll sign off at 7:30. We're only on for 1 hour. They will sign off at 7:30, and we will stay on till 8:30. And I'm only on television if the community will support the station. I'm not on there for any other reason. We need an outlet. We need television and radio in order to get the word out. No revolution has ever been successful that didn't have a line of communication. Okay. Now, Jonah gave the 14th Amendment hell, and he convinced me, at least, that the 14th Amendment does not discriminate. It don't discriminate. You make it discriminate because you are ignorant. You think they're talking to you. Just like you think the straw man is you. I dealt with the straw man on Saturday morning as I talked about birth certificate. And right today, I don't think there's anything more important than your authentication of your birth certificate. Can't say it any other way. And if you realize what I'm saying, or just listen to what I'm saying, you will understand it also. Since United States of America is a corporation, and any corporation by definition is a fictitious entity. Why is that so difficult to understand? General Motors, Chrysler, Ford, Walmart has never, ever done anything to you. It's the representatives of General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford that does something to you. General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford, Walmart, Kmart, all that, they do not exist. Only a figment of your imagination. I don't have a problem with that. But I think I can feel some people have a problem. Like that lady I told you that showed, that Smith, showed up on Friday. She had a problem, and I understand it because she was sincere. She was trying very hard to understand. And we all felt her pain. And we were pleasant with her. We didn't rip her. But we kept telling her, you can't come in here a slave and walk out a free person. It don't work like that. The devil has completely took over your mind. I think Jonah brought up Matrix and a couple of more of those weird movies where they was explaining it to you. If I'd have brought up The Wizard of Oz, woo, we probably would have still been up there. That's another one that talks about and explains clearly the straw man. And they even call him the straw man, right in the Wizard of Oz. And they had to make the Wizard of Oz because the rule of nature or the rule of the Creator, you cannot do anything to us, the inhabitants, the indigenous ones, without a warning. Brother told me one time to read Job in the Bible. I read some of it. I ain't gonna lie. I read some of it. And Job caught hell. But every time he caught hell, he was told he was going to catch hell before he caught hell. That keeps you, you have a will to get out of the way or stand there and take it. Wizard of Oz, they talk about the straw man. I can't name. I may do a show one day on the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy and the dog, Tin Man. All of those symbols stood for something that went on during the New Deal. The New Deal went on during the New Deal. Yes, unbelievable. I think it was released in 19. It was released in 19. When was it? 1935. Yep. It was released in 1935, right after the New Deal. And they told you everything that was going to happen to you. And that was in 1935, and now we're in 2015, and you still don't know what's going on. All this knowledge has been here ever since 1935. I'll admit they gave it to you in a riddle or rhyme, but they gave it to you. You can't say you didn't know. Every one of you out there have seen The Wizard of Oz. You know what the hell you're looking at, but they made a point of you seeing it. It's ironic how some of these things that everybody knows about. All of our children have seen Roots. And when you think about it, what the hell is that about? Put them in their slave minds and they come over on the ship. That's what it was about. And you got those agents are still talking today that we come over here on the ship. Oh, brother, man. Unbelievable. Let me see if we got any callers. We got the lines. Where we at? Telephone lines are full. Yep. And I'm looking at the chat room, looking for any type of questions they may have. I don't see. I got people on in the chat room, but I don't see any questions. Okay. All right. We got somebody typing. Where you at? Oh, he's logging. Yep. As they say, we good. I got you. J.L. Lou, the ruler. All right. Okay. I read over half of the Article 46, Section 46. Okay. Jonah said, you should go back and read all of this. Everything. You should read it all. Jonah started skipping around, and I can't remember. I thought I had it, but I guess I didn't. But they are violating our rights every day, especially when it comes to obligation, because they are obligated to abide by the law. They don't abide by the law. They do what they want to do. Obligation. Meaning, everybody has obligation. Obligation is an act or course of action to which a person is morally or legally bound, a duty or commitment. If you violate an obligation, that's treasonous, unlawful, and you can do some time. And we got a lot of people in jail today. They won't tell you that it was an obligation that you could do it, because they are getting away with murder when they do what they do. They don't have a right to put you in jail unless you commit common law crimes. I wonder if anybody out there know what a common law crime is. I'll tell you. Common law crime: murder, taking one's life, or destruction of property. Those are the only crimes you can commit and you have to go to jail for. Due to the color of law, which means they make up laws they make up statutes that are a contrast with real laws. Like, for example, destruction of property. They'll add in stealing. That ain't a destruction of property. You may steal because you're hungry. How can you go to bed at night and your children are crying of hunger, and a supermarket is across the street that just closed up? Somebody tell me how you do that. I know what them jackleg ass preachers gonna say, and I know what their so-called parish group's gonna say. Well, you didn't have to break in. If you'd have came to church, we could have given you something. I know better than that. They ain't gonna give you a damn thing. You could have found a job. You could have went to McDonald's. They were hiring every day. What do you do when you're unemployable? How does one ready himself from being unemployable? When 90% of unemployable people don't know they're unemployable. They look for a job and just get pissed off. Say the hell with it. Start robbing and shooting. I'll get one. What about that? Somebody tell me about unemployable. I know it, I see it every day. When you hit one of them main drags with them jitterbugs out there with their pants around their ass and that hat turned backwards, that's the first cause of being unemployed. I wouldn't hire them punks to do nothing. They need training. But I'll be the last one to start complaining that they're robbing and stealing. Your system, Peckerwood, created that. And then it's supported by the agents, with jackleg ass preachers. Then it gets all over the city. Everybody's talking. It's all in the air, all in the atmosphere. Oh, they could do better. We don't need them hanging around. They can find a job. McDonald's hire it every day. Oh, boy. I don't know if we have a lot. We don't have time. We have a lot to learn, but I don't think we have time to learn it. Unless the Creator reach out and slap the shit out of you and take him under your wing, take you under his wing